He stopped training for 2 months, not because of injury, not because of a ban, not because of burnout. He stopped because his father died. The man who built the gym he trained in, the man who put a barbell in his hands when he was 7 years old, gone. And then he came back and broke the world record, 365 kilograms. The heaviest total ever lifted in the 79 kilogram class in the history of the sport, by a 22-year-old from a small city in Indonesia who learned to lift on sand bases and plywood platforms in his father's backyard gym. The Chinese world record holder who Rizki Juniansyah broke that record against sent him a text message right after the lift. We will get to what it said. But first, you need to understand exactly who this man is, and why what he has done in the last 12 months is one of the most extraordinary stories in the history of weightlifting. Quick ask before we dive in, subscribe and drop a comment, because I read every single one, and it genuinely helps this channel keep growing. Serang, Banten, Indonesia, a city in the western tip of Java Island. Not a place with a long history of producing Olympic champions. Not a city with elite training infrastructure or national talent academies, or the kind of facilities that countries with weightlifting dynasties take for granted. Just a regular Indonesian city where a boy grew up in a house where weightlifting was not just a sport, it was the family business. Rizki Juniansyah was born there on June 17, 2003. His father, Muhammad Yassin, was a national weightlifter who represented Indonesia in 5 consecutive SCA games from 1983 to 1993. His mother competed. Both of his older siblings competed. His brother-in-law Triatno, who later became his coach, won bronze and silver medals at the 2008 and 2012 Olympics. Weightlifting did not find Rizki Juniansyah. He was born into it. His father ran a gym called Bulldog Gym in Serang, sand bases instead of proper flooring, plywood platforms, rubber matting, rusted bars, and improvised equipment. The kind of setup that coaches in wealthier countries would not allow a beginner to train in. But for a 7-year-old boy in Serang, it was everything. That detail right there is the whole story. The greatest weightlifter Indonesia has ever produced did not develop in a national training center. He developed in his father's backyard gym on sand and plywood with a rusted bar. By the time he was 9 years old, his father had given him his first formal training program, not because a national federation spotted him, because his dad knew exactly what he was looking at. Nobody doubted Rizki Juniansyah's talent. The numbers were too big, too early for anyone to argue with. But the system found another way to almost take everything away. 2023, he wins the SCA Games gold medal in Cambodia, sets 3 games records. The future looks vertical. Then 3 months later, in August 2023, his appendix ruptures. Emergency surgery. 6 months away from training and competition. 6 months. In an Olympic qualification cycle where every competition matters, where missing one event can cost you a spot at the games, where the window for qualifying closes regardless of what happens to your body. The qualification system did not care that he had just won the SCA Games. It did not care that he was the most exciting young weightlifter in Southeast Asia. It kept running while he was in recovery, and the experts and analysts watching the qualification standings started writing other names into the Paris 2024 slots that should have been his. The internet moved on. The selectors looked at other options. A 20-year-old on a 6-month medical absence was not the safe bet for a country trying to qualify for the Olympics. Every program kept scrolling to someone more available. By the end of January 2024, Rizki Juniansyah was back in training, 6 months after appendix surgery, less than 6 months before the Paris Olympics, a qualification window that was almost closed. One competition left to qualify, the 2024 IWF World Cup in Phuket, Thailand, the final chance. Win it and get to Paris. Miss it and watch the Olympics from home. He went to Phuket, and he did not just qualify. He set a world record total of 365 kilograms in the 73 kilogram class. Not a personal best, a world record. In a must-qualify competition after 6 months of medical recovery. That is who Rizki Juniansyah is. The moment the pressure is highest, the numbers go up. Then Paris. Then gold. Then his father was killed in a motorcycle accident at the end of 2024. Think about what that actually means. He told his father after winning Olympic gold, "Papa, I have won gold at my first Olympics for Indonesia. I have money. Papa, I want a hobby motorcycle." He bought a motorcycle. He bought a house. He bought a house next door for his mother. The sport had given him everything his father had worked to build in him. And then his father was gone. He described himself as very broken. He stopped training for 2 full months. Not a week. Not a brief break. 2 months. The Olympic champion, the world record holder, the most important weightlifter in his country's history, sat away from the sport he had known since he was 7 years old because the man who put a barbell in his hands was no longer alive. His family pulled him back, step by step, back to the gym his father built, back to the bar, back to everything Muhammad Yassin had believed his son was capable of. 2025 IWF World Weightlifting Championships, Førde, Norway. Rizki Juniansyah, now competing in the 79 kilogram class after moving up from 73. Steps onto the platform for his first world championship since his father's death. He wins gold. Clean and jerk world record, 204 kilograms. Let's put that in context. 204 kilograms in the clean and jerk, in the 79 kilogram class. That means he is lifting more than 2.5 times his own body weight overhead, a weight that would have won the clean and jerk in the super heavyweight class at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics. But he was not done. December 2025, 33rd Southeast Asian Games, Chonburi, Thailand. He steps onto the platform again. The same Thailand where he qualified for Paris with a world record 18 months earlier. The same country where his father's influence had followed him every step of the way. Clean and jerk, 205 kilograms. New world record. Total, 365 kilograms. New world record, 365 kilograms. Let that land. Say it one more time. 365 kilograms. The heaviest total ever lifted in the 79 kilogram class in the history of the sport. Just like in Phuket 18 months earlier, in Thailand, in a competition that mattered, he lifted 365 kilograms and set a new global standard. Do the math. He set a world record total in the same country twice, 18 months apart, in 2 different weight classes, after appendix surgery, after his father's death, after 2 months away from the sport entirely. The Chinese world record holder he broke the clean and jerk record against texted him immediately after the lift. The message said, 205 kilograms looked easy. Easy. The man whose record was just broken called it easy. That is the number. 365 kilograms, 205 kilograms in the clean and jerk. And according to the man who held the record before him, it looked easy. After winning Olympic gold at Paris 2024, becoming Indonesia's youngest ever Olympic gold medalist in history, Rizki Juniansyah was asked about his future dreams. He said, "My ultimate dream is to become a 3-time Olympian. I want to go to LA 2028 and Brisbane 2032. Not about the records, not about the money or the houses or the motorcycles. 3 Olympics. That is the goal. That is the ceiling he has set for himself." And when asked about returning to the sport after his father's death, he said simply that it was the most testing period of his life. Not the appendix surgery, not the qualification pressure. Losing his father. That is the whole person right there. A boy who started lifting in his father's backyard gym on sand and plywood, who recovered from surgery to qualify for the Olympics with a world record, who won gold in Paris and bought his mother a house next door to his own, who stopped training for 2 months after the man who built everything for him was taken away, and who came back to break world records in the country where it had all come together before. Every program that looked at other names during that 6-month medical absence watched 365 kilograms go up in Chonburi and said nothing. Rizki Juniansyah is 22 years old. 22. Elite male weightlifters peak in their mid to late 20s. He has not hit his prime. He has not even come close to it. The man who holds the world record total in the 79 kilogram class is still physically developing. Los Angeles 2028 is 2 years away. He will be 24. Prime years, the peak of what his body is capable of producing, competing at a second Olympics in a country where the entire Indonesian nation, 270 million people, will be watching. His coach and brother-in-law Triatno is a 2-time Olympic medalist himself. The coaching relationship is not just professional, it is family. The same family that pulled him back to the gym when his father died is the same family building the program that is going to carry him to LA 2028. The world record total in the 79 kilogram class is 365 kilograms. Set by Rizki Juniansyah himself in December 2025. He is chasing his own records now. Nobody else is close. The world record is 365 kilograms. He set it 6 months ago. He is 22 years old. He has not peaked. Do the math. So here's what I want you to tell me in the comments right now. Rizki Juniansyah, 22 years old, world record holder, Olympic champion, coming back from grief that would have ended most careers. LA 2028 is 2 years away. Does he win a second Olympic gold in Los Angeles, break his own world record total, and become the greatest weightlifter Indonesia has ever produced, dedicating everything to a father who put a barbell in his hands in a backyard gym in Serang when he was 7 years old? Or does someone from China, from the Middle East, from somewhere we have not seen yet, finally find a way to match what he is doing at 79 kilograms? Drop it below. Every single comment gets read. And if you want the full breakdown of what Rizki Juniansyah does next as he builds toward LA 2028, subscribe to Lift Icon right now. That video is coming very soon, and you do not want to miss it.